So, liberal policies have won politically. Politically, it seems that they are being accepted, not totally accepted, but the government policies are in favor of the what we call the liberal policy, more in the same direction. That is one thing. But government policies being accepted is one thing. Intellectually and emotionally, people must accept it, and they must reflect in government policies. So, government policies they should not be thrown on the top. That some prime minister says, "Do this," and they did it. That is not the correct thing. That is all right. So, policy remain. Just like the IMF told you, "Do this," and we did it. It was good, but it would have been better if we would have believed in it. But we never believed in it. But so intellectually, emotionally, we must believe in government. So that is still government. Politically, we are doing it. Narendra Modi's government politically is doing that, but from within, it has not come from the bottom of the heart. The people themselves have not started really believing that. I have not started. So what I feel, I am believing. I am not saying that they are against it, but for that you must create public opinion. Why these policies are good for you? Why these policies are good for the country? And then the people are convinced, and then they feel that the government is doing what we are convinced, then the policies become successful. Otherwise, if you don't know, but you think that yes, the government is doing that, and if you are not sure that what the government is it right or wrong, then your heart is not in it. And that is why I will quote Abraham Lincoln, which is about the think tank, which is very important. I will come to a minute in that. With public sentiment, nothing can fail. Without it, nothing can work. Nothing can succeed. Consequently, he who molds public sentiment goes deeper than he who enacts statutes or pronounces decisions. So now the government is enacting laws and pronouncing decisions. So that is all right, but they don't go deep unless there were people who believe in that. A public sentiment is there, has to be there. So somebody there has to be there who has created a public sentiment that this is necessary. And then the government does that, then it becomes firm. So you see what I am saying, that is what Abraham Lincoln said. Pronounces decisions. He makes statutes or decisions possible or impossible to be executed. Because if there is a public sentiment, then the decisions can be executed. If the public sentiment is not there, then the decisions cannot be executed properly. So that is what Abraham Lincoln wrote, and that is the bottom of a think tank. The root of a good think tank, CCS, for example, I was coming to that. CCS has an important role because the CCS is a think tank. So people like CCS and many more think tanks have to be there. So they have to create public opinion. Why a liberal thinking is necessary? What is liberal thinking? Why is it necessary? Create public opinion. Convince public sentiment. When that is convinced, and then the government makes a law, it is firm. You see what I am saying? Huh? So that is what I was saying was, this is what is necessary. And that is, I think, we have to consider important. So, politically decisions are taken, but intellectually, from the heart, they have not come so far. They will come. I am not saying people are against it, but people must be convinced in their mind. And for that, people must be ready to accept. People must be convinced about it. And there again, I say, all these great leaders, Margaret Thatcher, for example, she used to say this. People are, what her thinking was, conventional wisdom. People are bitten with conventional wisdom, which is wrong. So you have to attack the conventional wisdom. That the thinking is high tax rates, you absorb the rich. Wrong. It is conventional wisdom. So but if it is conventional wisdom, you must attack it. So but people are, what you call, there is a sense, her phrase was censorship of fashion. Despite a free constitution and a free country, we have suffering, she said it about Britain when she became Prime Minister. We are suffering from a censorship of fashion. Because everybody believes that tax the rich man higher rate, it is tax. It doesn't happen that way. Or it may happen, but you must be convinced about it. So conventional wisdom is this, conventional wisdom is this. So that conventional wisdom is not necessarily right. So it is becomes the censorship of fashion. And we must attack that censorship of fashion and go to the bottom of it, and then that is the role of the think tank. Attack the conventional wisdom. And she said it when she was speaking at the Institute of Economic Affairs, London, when they completed 30 years. And that is one of the best think tanks in the world. When they completed 30 years, she said, you were the people who got, and she said, I was guided in my thinking by what you wrote, by your people kept on writing, when it was completely against the general thinking. Well, you kept on writing, and I kept on reading, and I started, this is how it is. So I decided that if I come to power, I will do it. There is something very amazing. She has paid great compliment to the idea of a think tank and to the Institute of Economic Affairs by saying this. She said all these things when she was called to celebrate 30 years of the Indian Institute of Economic Affairs.
Last month, in fact this month, IES celebrated 60th year of
the
IEA, the 60th
Correct.
anniversary.
And you know, the founder chairman of that, Lord Harris, he wrote the foreword to my book. Well, I was convinced, I convinced him, I was convinced about it, so I wanted him to convince JRD about the importance of a think tank. So I met him 2-3 times, and I was already convinced. So then I requested him, and JRD agreed to go and meet him for lunch in London on my request to discuss what the think tank is. And he did that. And then he convinced JRD, and JRD was convinced by Lord Harris about the importance of the think tank movement. And that is why he was the founder chairman of, he died recently. And he wrote the foreword to my book, my JRD book.
It's a shame that JRD was not able to form a think tank in India.
Yes, but it was a shame, but it may happen one day. But that was, he at least accepted. He said, if he told me, you had come at least 2 or 3 years earlier, perhaps we could have done it ourselves. But he had committed himself, and he used to do it. Anyway, that is a separate matter. So the importance of, since you are doing a CCS is doing this, and CCS is a think tank, there are very few proper think tanks in India. Everybody calls himself a think tank. They are wrong. CCS is one, but it's one, and one very small one. It is a huge movement. Think tank movement has to be created. In England, in USA, it is called the ideas industry. The think tank, they produce ideas. They keep on producing ideas. Some ideas may be wrong. It doesn't matter, but they keep on producing ideas. And then people accept, if they accept ideas, they are consumed. And then the industry progresses.